Park Bo-gum's heartbreaking confession: I fell in love with IU while filming. The cameras had stopped rolling. The crew had packed their lights. And the last breeze of Jeju Island danced through the open windows of the beach house where they had just filmed the most emotional scene of When Life Gives You Tangerines. But what Park Bo-gum said next was not in the script. It was not rehearsed. It was not planned. It was real. And it would change everything. A confession behind the camera. It started with a quiet moment after a night shoot. Park Bo-gum and IU were sitting by the water, wrapped in thick coats, sipping warm tea from paper cups. Their eyes stared into the waves as silence filled the air. Then he spoke. I think I fell in love with you. IU turned her face to him, surprised, confused, silent. He continued. I tried to stop it. I told myself it was just the characters, just Ae-sun and Kwon-sik. But I realized it was more than that. Every time you smiled at me on set, it was like the world stopped moving. And when the director yelled cut, my heart never did. IU said nothing. Her eyes glistened under the moonlight, but she held her cup tightly and whispered, You should not have said that. Chemistry so real it hurt. The viewers had already seen it. The spark. The raw energy. The kind of chemistry that did not look like acting. In one of the episodes where Kwon-sik grabs Ae-sun's hand as she tries to walk away, that was not acting either. Crew members say the scene was meant to be a polite farewell. But Bo-gum changed the mood. He pulled her back gently and looked at her with real emotion. IU did not speak. She just stared into his eyes. And in that unscripted pause, the director let the cameras roll. What the world saw was not fiction. Fans online created thousands of clips. Millions watched the slow-motion moment over and over again. One user wrote, I feel like we should not be watching this. This feels like their private story. The Jeju sunset that changed everything. The emotional climax of the drama was filmed at a cliffside spot. Bo-gum and IU were meant to walk into the sunset together. The scene was simple. But what happened off-screen was not. After the final take, Bo-gum reportedly stood still for several minutes. His eyes did not leave IU. One makeup artist later revealed. He kept looking at her as if he was saying goodbye to a part of his heart. It was not acting. It was real love ending in silence. IU smiled for the cameras. She waved at fans. But once she turned around, Bo-gum had already walked away. And he did not return to the wrap party that night. The secret journal entry. Weeks after filming ended, a page from Bo-gum's personal journal mysteriously circulated online. No one confirmed its authenticity, but the handwriting matched, and the words were haunting. It read, She was sunshine in the winter. I knew she was not mine. But for those days, those precious days in Jeju, she let me pretend. Fans were in tears. The post received hundreds of thousands of comments. Many begged them to admit they were in love. Others simply wrote, Heartbreaking. IU's quiet response. IU has never publicly spoken about the confession. But at her recent fan meeting, she performed an unreleased song titled Only on Camera. The lyrics spoke of a love that bloomed under lights. A heart that beat between scripts. And a man she called. The one I could never keep. The crowd was silent. Phones were raised. And in that moment, everyone knew. She had loved him too. But some stories are not meant to be told beyond the screen. Park Bo-gum's interview that shook the industry. In a recent magazine interview, Bo-gum was asked about When Life Gives You Tangerines. The interviewer thought he would speak about the plot, the direction, the fans. But Bo-gum leaned forward, eyes focused, voice calm, and said, I left a part of myself in that drama. It was the most beautiful and painful role I have ever played. Because I was not just playing Kwon-sik. I was loving IU. The studio fell into silence. The interviewer paused. Bo-gum only smiled sadly and said, I hope she knows. Fans demand a reunion. Since the confession went viral, fans across the globe have launched campaigns demanding a reunion. Not just for another drama, but for a live event, a documentary, even a real talk between the two stars. Petitions have gathered thousands of signatures. One fan wrote, Even if they are not together now, we want to hear them talk about it. We deserve to know if what we saw was real. And most agree. It was. The love that will never be. Industry insiders whisper that IU is now focusing on her music. Park Bo-gum is in talks for a new film overseas. Their paths have split. But the memory remains. Every time fans rewatch the drama, every time Kwon-sik looks at Ae-sun with longing, they see it. They feel it. That confession. That moment on the beach. That night when fiction ended and real love began. And though the world may never get a sequel, they will always have When Life Gives You Tangerines. The internet had not calmed down since Park Bo-gum's heartbreaking confession. He had said the words everyone feared to believe. I fell in love with IU while filming. And then he disappeared from the spotlight. For weeks, IU said nothing. No statement. No post. No smile that hinted at truth. But everything changed last night. At the 2025 Seoul Drama Excellence Gala. A night meant for awards turned into a night no one will ever forget. Because IU finally spoke. And the entire world listened. The red carpet whisper. IU arrived at the gala in a simple white gown. No diamonds. No flashy accessories. Just grace and quiet beauty. But fans immediately noticed something strange. She looked emotional. Her eyes searched the crowd. As if she was expecting someone who never came. Reporters swarmed. Flashes erupted. One journalist asked, "Is it true what Park Bo-gum said about falling in love with you?" IU paused, touched her necklace gently, and said softly, "Sometimes the screen captures more than a story. Sometimes it captures a real heart." His confession was brave. The crowd gasped. Security had to step in as fans screamed. It was not a denial. It was not silence. It was something more. The reunion everyone hoped for. Park Bo-gum was not on the guest list. That much had been confirmed. He was supposedly filming overseas. But just as IU walked onto the stage to present the award for Best Actor, a voice echoed through the hall. "I accept this on behalf of someone who should be here." And then he walked in. Wearing a black suit. Eyes filled with something deep and unreadable. Park Bo-gum stepped up beside her. And for a moment, they stood in silence. The audience rose. Applause erupted. But the only sound louder was the thumping of hearts. IU looked at him. He looked at her. And then she handed him the envelope. Her hands trembled. He opened it slowly and read. Best Actor goes to someone who loved with honesty. Park Bo-gum. The hall exploded. IU stepped back. But Bo-gum gently took her hand. And then the lights dimmed. A hidden backstage conversation leaked. What happened next was never meant to be public. But a crew member backstage reportedly recorded what IU and Bo-gum said in a quiet hallway after leaving the stage. The audio was low. But the words were clear. IU said, "Why did you say it out loud? Why now?" Bo-gum replied, "Because I could not carry it alone anymore. Not when every scene I shot with you became a memory I could not erase." IU whispered, "You broke my silence." He answered, "And you broke my heart." Silence followed. Then footsteps. And then IU's voice again. "Then let's stop pretending."